Hello and welcome to VLearn Virtual Learning Network. This is session 35 of Administrative Theories, Organizational Effectiveness. Topics to be covered: Introduction, Meaning and Definition, Approaches to the study of organizational effectiveness, Determinants of organizational effectiveness, Organizational development, assumption in the organizational development efforts, types of organizational development intervention, and criticism. Introduction. Yes, in this session now we were actually going to discuss about the organization effectiveness. In all the previous sessions of administrative theory, we actually get the very good glance on the administrative part. We get the study about what is the administrative theory, how era started, how all the inputs of the administratives comes, what kind of theories was there. At the same time, how authority works, how accountability comes into part, what is span of control, what is scalar chain, this kind of a concept we got in our understanding. We have that understanding that yes, all these inputs, all these factors of the administrative theories bring out the proper functioning of the organization. These are the factors which lead the organization towards the better step. These are the factors through which organization can perform all the management functions in the proper way. That is why now we are going to discuss on the organization effectiveness. We understand that what kind of an administration there are, what are the bureaucracies, what is effectiveness, what is efficiencies. These things basically required. So organization are like living organisms. They have their infancies, they have adulthood, maturity, middle age, old age, final decay. Yes, this is what organization, like human beings have a lifespan, they have a life era. Same as organization have. Organization always in the very introduction or the very at the influence stage, when they start gathering the information, learning the environment, understanding it. After that it leads to the adulthood, when there was in a very growing stage. They grow, they start earning profit, they start earning new things, understanding new concept, analyze new opportunities and threats which arises in the market. So that is what adulthood. At the same time, they lead to the maturity stage also. That is what the stage where the organization feels that there was in a halt area, or there was, yes, they have to do something new. They have to explore something new era to perform it, new things to explore it. At the same time, the middle age is always related to the middle path of the after maturity. There was in a middle age, there was the era in which if there was nothing new will be happen, so probably that will lead the organization towards the old age. At the same time, yes, there was a decline stage also, or we can say that very saturation stage, where there was no as such opportunities and growth scenarios, but still the name is working for the organization. And the final decade is the final end or the death of the organization. So this is what the whole span of the organization. This organization is always live as an organism. Organism death is certain after a period of time. That is true. Whereas organization continues to exist for a long time. That is very true. That is, organization is all up to how management perform the work, how management leads the thing. That will going to decide how many numbers of years the organization going to survive. The organisms have a certain limits of their life. They have a certain limits in their lives, but organizations never have. They were always they can extend to the longer period. But again, the things are the concepts of working. The management is the main important. So in that main management concept, what exactly the things are to be considered. All the things, all the understanding which we get from the previous session, that's all required to make the organization in a very continuous basis, to make the organization in a growing path, in a growing basis. Now, what is a meaning and definition of the organization and organization effectiveness? If we talk about the organization are the social unit with a purpose. Normally, they should be purpose of for the birth of the organization. So, organization effectiveness refers to how well the purpose of an organization are achieved. That is very true. Organization is always considered as a social element and social entity, because it consists of people and people perform in that social entity. So organization is always social unit. At the same time, if we talk about organization effectiveness, it refers to how well the purpose of an organization are achieved, how betterly the purpose of an organization are achieved. आप किस तरीके से गोल्स को अचीव कर सकते हो, ऑब्जेक्टिव्स को अचीव कर सकते हो, एक ग्रोथ लेकर आ सकते हो. दिस इज व्हाट ऑर्गेनाइजेशन इफेक्टिवनेस, दिस इज व्हाट how well all the working are to be done. So the proper working, accurate working, correct working of the organization is always lead to the organizational effectiveness. So thus effectiveness refers to the achievement of organizational purpose. That is all about how perfectly, how correctly you achieve the organizational purpose. आप organization के purpose को किस तरीके से achieve करते हैं. That is what the main thing, that is what the organization effectiveness is. So in that case, James Price defines organizational effectiveness as a degree of a goal achievement. Yes, it is considered as a degree of a goals which are achieved. So the determinations of an organization goal is crucial in evaluating effectiveness. So it is always there, if there was a determination of the organization goal, it should be performed and evaluated in a very effective and proper manner. So it is always required the proper functioning of the organization, lead the organization effectiveness. Now, approaches to study the organizational effectiveness. Mulford and his association have entitled 3 approaches in this. The first approach is formal goal approach. Second is system resource approach. Third is system approach. So, formal, system resource and system approach. Organization effectiveness is seen as an accomplishment of the purpose, and goal is formal goal approach. So Person has identified 5 such groups to stakeholder and their expectations from the organization. That's very true. But the approaches, Mulford basically gives the 2 approaches. That is what, if we talk about the formal goals approach, this is what every organization have a formal goals. Every organizations have a formal working. At the same time, they have a proper system to be performed. They have a system resources, they have human resource, all material resources, all technical resources to be performed well, which help them and contribute in the performance of the organization. So in that case, this is related to the system resource approach. At the same time, we always said that there was a hierarchy in the organization. That hierarchy leads towards the system approach. So organization effectiveness is what the purpose of the organization, accomplish the goal of the organization, bring out the formal goal approaches. Whereas Persona is basically identified 5 factors. They identified or understand the 5 groups. These are social group, output goals, social goals, output goals. Now we're first going to discuss what is social goal. Social goal is all related to the society, as the larger social system has a certain expectations from the organization. So they are always related to society, that how, so in the society, how organization is performed, what kind of expectations the society have from the organization, what kind of factors they have from the society. So this all related to the society as a large social system. If we talk about output goals, what all are the outputs which are required in the organization, that Different consumers group in the society expect the different goods and services as an output from the organization. So each group has its own interest in a particular goods and service. Each group pays from the production of the particular goods and services from the organization. So different consumer groups in the different societies expected the different groups, expected the different outputs. So there was the modifications of goods are required, the technique, or we can say the taste and preferences may be different. So each group have its own interest in the particular goods. So in that case, they were always required to be performed well. Now system goals, yes, this refers to the way in which an organization is working. This is basically a way in which the whole work is performed, whole activities are performed. So in that case, yes, the way in which an organization is working, irrespective of its relationship with the various other organization and stakeholder. So the emphasis of the system goal are on the growth, stability and productivity. That is why it's a system, because it is consist of overall working of the organization, how the relationship perform, what is the hierarchy in which how communications perform, what is the growth factor, stability factor and productive factor. This is why it's a system goal. So overall system is considered. Another is product goal, that is characteristics such as what kind of product you are offering, what kind of services you are offering, quality, quantity, range, variety, price. This kind of a thing of product was considered and taken care. So that's come into product goals. Another is derived goals. Derived goals are always to the use of the power and other resources of the organization. That is what the derived, that is what is actually come by the use of power and come by the use of proper working. So that comes into derived goal. So derived goal is always related to the which are the purpose to be accomplished and to be fulfilled by its own goal. So these are what the approaches to study the organization effectiveness. These all studies, that means organization has to take care of these 5 goals, these 5 perspectives. If organization able to take care of it, so automatically the benefits are comes into and the proper working are to be done by the organization to improve well. Determinants of organizational effectiveness, that is what according to the modes, the determinants of organizational effectiveness are of a 2 type. If we talk about the effectiveness of the organization, yes, it's of a 2 type, the organization characteristics and behavioral characteristic. Organization characteristics is all about how the organization is going to be performed, what are the roles, responsibilities, objective, policies, procedures of the organization. Whereas behavioral characteristic is all about what is exactly behavior, functioning and the effective part of the workers. Another is, if we talk about the social scientist, has found the 4 important variables in determinants of organizational effectiveness. They state that organization effectiveness have the 4 different variables, 4 different tasks. So they are, first is organization structure, second is environment, third is technology, fourth is people. So these are the 4 organizational effectiveness. That is what organization must have its structure to make it very effective, to make it very essential. At the same time, there must be an environment surroundings, environmental factors. There must be a proper environment who perform according to that. At the same time, technological is always related to the what kind of technology they are using, what kind of technologies are going to be performed well. At the same time, the environment, people is always the people are working in the organization. If all these things happen, so automatically that will lead to the another factor, that is what the product development. The other word, organization effectiveness can be improved by strengthening the 4 important factor. So if these all 4 factors are to be identified well, so automatically this will lead to the betterment of the organization and betterment of the or leads to the organization development. Organization development. Benny was one of the earliest writers who have recognized the need of organization development, and they basically state that the organization development is the method who basically improve the organization effectiveness. There are several methods for that, but yes, it is one of the to improve the method of the organization. Whereas French and Belly has entitled the characteristics feature of the organization development practice also. They followed that and emphasize on changing the behavior of a group of individual working in organization through suitable methods. So that is the first thing. That means emphasizing bringing out the change in the behavior of group, bringing out the change in the individual working, and emphasize on the work terms in the organization as a unit of analysis, study and research. This is another thing to bringing out the organization development. It should emphasize on the work team. Third is an emphasize on the collaboration and corporations while working, and yes, at the same time while working the team people. There must be a collaboration, cooperation. Emphasize on the involving of the total organization and its people. Another is attention to the administrative system and practices, and they have to use the research findings to share the people. At the same time, use a key position with the knowledge in the organization development to supervise the program of the development. That means there must be the proper people position, there must be a proper supervision. Another is organization development is seen as a continuing process rather than to solve the problem as and when they come to the surface. That is what there must be a continuous working and continuous process. So these are the key factors which leads to the organization development. Now, what are the assumptions in organizational development efforts? If we talk about assumption, the first assumption is people. There are two assumptions about the people. That is, people have a drive towards the personal growth and people are capable to making the higher contribution. So these are two. People have drive and people is capable. So these are two assumptions. In the group, the assumption is there was the work group, there was the work effort, team efforts must be there. So people gives a lots of importance to the work group and types of things that happens in the work group and have a lots of significance to the people. So people can contribute towards the resolving conflicts. Another people in the organization, yes, assumption about the people in the organization, that is weighted the organization development efforts. At the same time, they have a work group to be performed, they have a superior's things to perform. He has an opportunity to influence the attitude and behavior of the people. Type of the organization development interventions. Yes, how we will actually lead to the organization development intervention. The first factor is diagnostic. This include the collections of a data on the nature of the organization and its problem. That is to understand the problem, diagnostic all the factors of the organization, thinking about where is the lacking area and come up to resolve it. Team building. That is what to bring out the team efforts. Team building must be there. That depends on the corporations and communications. That is what the overall working of the togetherness. So team building must be there. Intergroup. The different group in the organization have a different view about each other. So it should be intergroup. That is, people try to understand others' position. They try to understand the other things. So this requires the information sharing also. Then another is survey feedback. It is what related to bringing out the proper surveys and the feedback from the surveys. Then education and training must be there. That programs are arranged for the people working in an organization. They are to improve their skills and yes, at the same time influence them. So this is what basically education and training. Whereas structural activities are related to the overall working or entire organization or entire department performed and recognize the things and technologies, task functions. So that comes into structural activities. Now criticisms. What are the criticisms which are taken place? The concept of organization effectiveness was criticized on two grounds. The first ground is organization effectiveness is a matter of large system. That is the first, that it is only used in the large organization and it is the work of the larger organization and large systems only. Another is lack of arrangement on the definition, measurements of organization effectiveness. That is, it's always a big question that we are unable to calculate, we are unable to define or measure the organization effectiveness amongst the social scientists. And according to the one viewpoint, organization effectiveness is a matter of effectiveness of large social systems. So this is what the basic criticism which faced by the organization effectiveness. Organization effectiveness is basically national effectiveness. Is one organization effective and lead towards the betterment and the growth of the organization, automatically leads to the betterment. So this rise and fall in the influence by the nature of a leadership and commitment and national interests of the people. So there are a few questions which you have to do it yourself. First is, what is organization effectiveness? What are the criteria of measuring the organization effectiveness? And what is the major criticism against the organization effectiveness? So this is all about for the today's session. We are winding up here. Thank you so much. Happy learning. We learn.